My Hero Academia.
So, just before this video, I said this chapter is 50-50. Red's probably like, what the
Thurman's
fuck?
like, this chapter is 50-50 for him, and I'm like riding that Bakugo hype. So
I have to say this chapter is extremely 50-50 for me. So I'm gonna go towards the positive first. Yes, the Bakugo hype.
Bakugo!
Like this chapter, like
that character, dude. This is. I will argue that this is the biggest character development chapter for Bakugo in the entire series.
Yes, I agree. I loved, like, bro. Like,
all right, I gotta find my favorite line. Sorry, go ahead.
It's crazy to me how this shit just fucking. It's baffling to me. Like, this is like Hirokoshi. This is Bakugo porn right here. This is legit Bakugo porn right here. Hirokoshi literally writing out
Bakugo porn. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
it's Bakugo character porn. To clarify,
this is like some. Can we just imagine if Bakugo essentially just soloed alone just by his?
That makes total sense to me. Now I don't think he was completely. He basically, you know what it was? It wasn't that Bakugo soloed. It was that someone was playing as Bakugo in J-Star's Victory Versus, and then they were the fucking little R1 L1 assists.
Because it's crazy.
Because, you know, they came, like, I'm not even kidding. Like, look, they came in, like, Sugar Rush guy came in, punched him free, and then the other one, you know, like, and then Jiro listened a little bit, and then the tape guy almost did nothing. So you're right. I mean, it really was just Bakugo with some assists.
My thing is, I love this chapter for the Bakugo character development, right?
Can
Bakugo,
I just say my favorite line in the entire chapter, where because he says the whole, like, you know, when you guys get in trouble, I'll save you, and then that already is like a really big, like, oh, that's awesome for him. But then what got even better was when he's like, and when I'm in trouble, you dumb shits can save me. I loved that. So because he's learning to be able to rely on people and say, you know what, I can just charge right in and fight like a fucking freak because I got you fuckers to come and get me out of it if a problem happens, which is like, it's so perfectly at the same time him and also still reckless. It's like growing because he's relying on people, but still reckless Bakugo. I love it.
And it's great thinking of Mono the entire chapter was like, fuck.
Yeah, Monoma literally me though. Like Monoma's literally he's like his character. He almost fourth wall broke. He was like, his character changed too much. I need to rewrite the script. The script is he's gone off script.
I fairly enjoyed Bakugo's time. I think it was great. A great Bakugo spot. Positive wise Bakugo. Now, time for the negative. You probably don't have any negatives, but
I might have. Not that none that come to my head immediately, but I'm curious what you think.
First, Class B was completely underwhelming.
Yeah, but like it was.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish.
Hold on. It's called subverting expectations. Class B fucking annihilated in the last couple ones.
Wait. Let me finish. Yeah. Hirokoshi did what I was afraid he would. He did. Because one of our biggest things before this arc even began, our biggest worries was, okay, we hope Class B, you know, not like a hopeful jocking off to Class A. Now, for the most part, it wasn't. Now, the reason why it kind of irked me that they did a clean slate. This victory was first of all, Hirokoshi hyped up Togage very much, and yes, last chapter she did her, but it felt very. This victory felt very. If you take off the hype Bakugo hype glasses and look at it from a manga analytics standpoint, you have to realize that this chapter was not. It was still a good chapter for Bakugo's sake and for character development, but overall, it was kind of disappointing because it was just okay. This whole chapter was just to make Bakugo look good.
No, so here's my counter argument to that. I disagree with you. I actually think that the reason that argument is wrong is actually because of something that you said, and then the chapter actually backed it up. Their team was fucking perfect. They literally clarify in this last chapter and this chapter and the video before that, you clarified that this was the perfect team. Perfectly rounded. This chapter clarifies their team is fucking untouchable, and it blew her mind. They were like, this team is just perfectly built. Everything is there. It's a perfect team. And with Bakugo leading the charge, it was just a perfect team. That's why they won, in my opinion. That's why when you said Bakugo soloed, I don't fully agree with that. I think that the team being so fucking perfect was the key to their victory here.
Yeah, I agree that the team was perfect, but at the same time, hyping up, it's like what Bleach. It's like what I complain about how, like, I believe it was the Ichigo versus Yukiara fight. How Yukiara was hyped up heavily, but Ichigo one-shotted him or something like that.
No, that would be that was actually one of the better fights in this. I think you're thinking of the Uwatch fight, like the very final fight in the series.
It was one fight that Bleach fans said that it was just
you're thinking of Uwatch, and
then probably it felt like
See, I don't know. I still disagree because like you have to subvert expectations occasionally. Like it's okay. So like I'm trying to think of a good example, right? Like, hasn't there ever been moments in manga where you think, like, okay, it's the same thing as you could reverse this, right? So like when we originally started this, and like everyone was expecting Class A to stomp, and then Class B came in and stomped one of them. That'd be like if you were mad about that, like, oh well, you know, like it subverted your expectations. It did something differently, but that's not a bad thing.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying that it was. I still fairly enjoyed the chapter. I'm just saying it's 50-50 to me because it would have made it more if they put. It didn't feel like they put it much fight. Honestly,
but to
it was
me,
just
that did wonders for Bakugo's character and
that's
his strength.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm still 50-50 because this was Bakugo's one of my favorite characters in the series. I believe all the Bakugo hate, besides the fucking Bakugo Ochako ship.
Yeah.
Which,
well, Bakugo had hate in the beginning because he was a fucking cunt in the beginning, but he's de-cunted.
Even then, I liked him. He was a good character even then.
I legitimately, I hated him and I didn't understand. And most people agree with me. Like, I think it was either Gigik or Mother's Basement did a video where he said the same fucking thing. He was like, I hated him until a certain point, and I was the same way. I hated him until the flashback during the All Might thing where okay, let me give you my quick story on my path with Bakugo, right? So
I'm listening.
I really didn't like him until the Kamino part, where like with All Might, and there was this flashback as Bakugo was watching All Might, All Might's final fight. There was this flashback to Bakugo looking through like a store window, watching a news report, and he pointed and he was looking to his bully friends, and he was like, "You see, that's why All Might's the best hero, because he never loses." And then it clicked. It was like a fucking That's So Raven style holy shit moment. You ever watch That's So Raven?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm talking about, where she's like...
Her future.
Yeah, so I had like a fucking epiphany during that scene. And I was like, oh my god, everything makes so much sense now. His view of a hero is someone who never loses. So the reason that he was always a fucking cunt to Deku every time that he offered help, the reason that he was like obsessed about being the number one and the best was because he viewed All Might as the number one hero because of his track record, because of his win-loss rate, not because of his heroic attitude and his like spreading of love and kindness. Whereas Deku appreciated the fact that he smiled when he came, he'd come out of a building with a smile, and that's what Deku appreciated and saw in All Might, whereas Bakugo saw the win, never lose thing with All Might. So Bakugo got obsessed with this never losing thing. So when Bakugo lost to Deku's team in the first ever fucking trial that they have in the series, Bakugo goes fucking nuts because at that point he doesn't see himself as a hero anymore. He thinks he's not worthy to be a hero because he's lost, because he had this foolish idea of never losing ever. So all of a sudden his cuntiness up until that point made all the sense in the world. And I thought that was genius. So yeah, that's my story with Bakugo.
Beautiful. But yeah, sorry, probably not gonna change my mind. I just feel like they could have. I just think that for what it was, teamwork was beautiful. The whole them winning, but like with as good a victory as it was good. I just think that at least Tokage should have. That's how they gave her a weakness to her quirk. I like that. very
That was
much.
interesting. They kind of differentiated her from Buggy because, like, we were like, oh, it's a bit like Buggy, but she can either just like let the fucking parts. She can manually gather back the parts to make it quicker, or they can literally grow back. Is how I understood that. Did I understand that correctly?
So it's essentially they made the way they say it was similar to Momo's quirk. How she has to like
in the sense that she can get tired. They were saying that it's similar to Momo's quirk in the sense that it can tire her out if she uses it too much. But from what I understood was that like her parts don't just immediately fly back to her. She has to manually regather them, or they'll have to just regrow. That's what I understood.
Yeah, I don't see where she says the regrow part, but that's just she needs to return her parts.
Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I gotta read it now. Okay, so it says, here's what we know about her ability. She can split her body into 50 parts and control them at will, but after a certain amount of time, those separated parts will stop moving, and then she'll regenerate replacements for those missing parts.
So it's a theory. He said it's a theory.
No, it's not a theory. No, because he said after this part. He said from here on, it's just my theory. So, like, those are the things you know for sure. Go to page 12, side panel, right side. The third panel down is when he starts having a theory, but the second panel is something that they know about. So it says once those parts will go out, and then they'll just die. And then she regenerates those parts. So the way I understood that was she can send out these parts. It's like a lizard. That's why it's called lizard tail cut. Have you ever seen what happens when a lizard's tail gets ripped off? It'll keep moving for a while after it's detached from the body, and then it'll die, and then the lizard will grow a new tail.
Yep.
So she can send out these parts. They'll move for a while, and she can either go out and collect them back into her body, or they'll die and she'll grow new ones. But I imagine that takes time and effort, and that'll tire her out growing new body parts. That's how I understood it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I guess my thing is this whole thing of like Bakugo winning a lot easier than we expected. I think that's the point. It's like the entire theme of this chapter is don't underestimate me. It's literally talking to people like you, Thurman, who thought it was going to be a harder battle. Like, don't underestimate Bakugo. Hold on. Don't underestimate. What?
I was ever underestimating Bakugo to begin with. No, someone who's a Bakugo fan day one.
No, you're still misunderstanding what I'm saying. Like it's basically the whole point of him winning that easily was to show that he's better than you even thought he was. It's to show how much of a genius he is, to show how much better he is. If he didn't win that easily, like if the whole point was, look, he does teamwork now, and then he didn't win this easily, it wouldn't have been as strong of a moment as it was. The moment had to be strong, as in, look, he's a team player now, and look at how much stronger that makes him in combat. How would that be proven and shown to us if he didn't win easily, or if it was still just as much? You know what I mean?
I see what you say there, and I agree with that. Mm-hmm. I just feel like there's ways that it could have been shown, like either or. What you're saying, what you actual sense. Mm-hmm. But I think that's kind of it was done in such a way to where I wouldn't have. It would have been better if one character from Cloud wasn't so hyped up. Like they made it seem like she was going to be his, but she ended up wasn't his counter. Is that don't hype someone who they say was going to essentially be his biggest issue, and then she's just because that's what she was.
Right. I get that. I feel that.
Even then, Class B was pretty stacked too. This was like a perfect team versus perfect team. So I think that it could have went either way, but I think that they kind of underwhelmed it because, like I said, I don't like characters who are just created just to make another character look good. I think that's stupid.
But I don't think that's what Horikoshi's doing here. I'm sure they'll come back.
I feel like that's what he did here. But overall, I'm liking Bakugo's And I'm even a lot of people are saying that they're upset because it ended in one chapter. I mean, like I said, it was 50-50 for me. I'm not upset that he beat it in one chapter.
I don't think that was one. That was 2 chapters. The last chapter was them fighting too.
Yeah, but because there's this Discord I'm in, they said that it was too short. I feel like it was fine. I feel like because after you explain what you just explained, it makes sense why it's so short. I just felt my biggest issue is that it was very underwhelming to be hyped up. One character, I think.
No, I get what you're saying. Because she should have done more. And being how hyped she was, I agree. I get what you're saying.
It would have been like if Kendo was hyped up. If Kendo and Momo had that whole talk, and then Momo just beat her as bad as if Bakugo just beat Tokage.
Right. I guess that is the struggle, like the struggle that the author must find himself in, because he's got to show Bakugo's, development at the same time. Yeah, it's a difficult moment. I guess I see where you're coming from.
But I would have liked it if Tokage did more, essentially, to show that she was like a formidable. Then like Bakugo's like, "Fuck you, bitch." You're not.
Fuck
and
you,
then soloed like he did. But
maybe held on a little longer, tried some other well, so here's a comparison I'm gonna make. Like, even though Netero got destroyed by Meruem, Netero fucking held on for a while, like kind of something like that.
Yeah, like Netero versus Meruem was a perfect example. Perfect. But I mean, your point actually makes a lot of sense now. I will contest that. It is my point. I just feel like that is kind of he's kind of overhyped.
Yours does too. I think we both kind of can come to a middle ground here. You feel where I'm saying, but I also kind of feel what you're saying about how she had gotten a lot of hype. So I feel.
Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed the chapter. That's why it was mostly 50-50 to me.
Yeah, high-key Bakugo hype. Ride that Bakugo hype train.
Now it's time for the 3, 4, 5 chapters of Deku.
Bruh, is it going down? So you know plot shit is gonna kick in with Deku's, right? Like a lot of, because remember what All Might was like, hey, the last time you fought the fucking mind control kid, it knocked you into one of those visions. So I feel like some plot shit with All for One's gonna happen in his fight.
I feel like he might be resistant to it, or at least like heavily like.
No, I think he's gonna fucking get knocked into another vision during the fight, and we're gonna have some major plot shit go on.
So he if I recall, he's at what percent is he at right now? 10%? What is he at?
Somewhere between 10 and 15, I think. I don't fucking know.
So we saw what he was at 100. So I mean,
yeah, fighting you think kaiju, kaiju Chisaki there.
Chiaki.
I had a fucking stroke. No, say his name there. I'm literally okay, Thurman. Your connection is so bad. It's like, are you on your laptop or your phone?
My laptop, bro.
Okay, let's do phone from now on, because your connection's always better on your phone. Just from now on. Sound good?
Oh,
all right,
shit.
Cool.
Well, you ship that snowball.
That's true. Oh fuck! Well, is your Wi-Fi bad? What's going on here?
My Wi-Fi's fine.
You're cutting in and out a little bit. It's like I'm like literally like, oh, it's so close to being not cutty, but it is. It's so cutty.
Was it going through the entire video or just...
on and off?
But I'm saying, like, was it the entire video?
On and off through the entire video. Yes.
Well, I mean, you didn't say anything till just now, so
because it's enough to hear you. I can understand what you're saying, but it's like, was it to the entire video? Like I can understand what you're saying, but it's very distracting. No,
I feel. Well, we'll just have to see.
Well, that's why I'm saying I'm gonna leave this in the video, like just so you know, I'm aware of it. It usually isn't like this, and it makes me sad that it is like this. So yeah.
It wasn't like that with Dr. Stone, so.
Not as bad. There was like 2 or 3 moments, but that's why I was ignoring it, because I kept thinking it would go away.
Well, anyway.
Well, one last thing I wanted to mention too is this welding guy did a sexy ass move to Bakugo. That shit was cool looking.
Yeah. Oh my god, welding guy. Jesus.
I like him, man. He's like an alchemist from Fullmetal Alchemist.
Bro, predictions though. My boy Mineta's coming back.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm ready for all the fucking
SJWs.
for all the haters to relive the glory that is Mineta.
We need another perv moment. How long? He's got to just crawl into someone's panties.
Bro, I'm gonna laugh. So I'm spoiling the next chapter for so many people. I'm like, hey, remember all the Mineta hate you guys had?
Wait, I need to know who's he fighting again? I need to remember what are all of the women choices in his battle, because we know he's gonna perv on one of them.
I don't remember the women, but I know he's versus Monoma, Shinso, and a few others. Bro, that team though, Deku, Mineta, Uraka, and Mina, bro, that team's so weird. Like, if you put in the right hands, that team could be powerful. Actually, now that I think about it,
it's true.
But I feel like Mina would be the leader of that team, though.
See, now your connection's fine. It's fucking weirding me out.
Like, I feel like Mina is what Hirokoshi should do is kind of have Mina have like her own little leadership thing.
Mina's an interesting character. Like, she's super outgoing and bubbly, but like, I don't know if I get leadership vibe from her. She seems very like
in her flashback with Kirishima, she gave the type of like she'll be
was that the one where she jumped in to like tell that weird creepy fucking guy the directions? Yeah.
Like she gives like a type, like she'll step in when she needs to be.
That's true. I mean, she gives me the type of someone who'd be like, guess what, bitches, we're all going to the mall this weekend. But I don't know if she'd lead a battle. She'd definitely lead a social event.
We'll have to see, because I don't think Deku. Honestly, me personally, I don't feel like Deku. I guess he's kind of
the strategist, man. He knows that he's all strategist.
He's shown leadership roles, but I still can't see him as like the leadership.
Well, so I see what you're saying. I don't think Deku is like literally like the kind of guy who's gonna be like, you go here. But I think that he's someone who, if someone approaches him and says, Deku, do you have strategies? Then he'll be like, fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's like a Todoroki of that regard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I'm hoping that, like, maybe Mina goes up to him and says, like, all right, what you got, Deku? And then Deku's like, I'm glad you asked. Here's my notebooks.
Because the only ones who've actually shown, like, somewhat of leadership level is, like, Deku and Mina. But, I mean, Uraka and Mineta obviously aren't. But, I mean, maybe Mineta could change and become a leadership role. Who knows?
Oh my god, bro. I hope, man. If there's any time to fucking give Mineta some crazy character development, it's time. Can you imagine? I'm waiting, because every single time there's like a perv character, like this is why this is why I personally get pissed at people that hate Mineta, because it's like they clearly don't. They're unable to think fucking critically, because it's like, I'm sorry, but if you've read any series ever, he's gonna have a redeeming moment. Like, he's meant to be hated now, but he's gonna have a moment. It's very similar to the laser kid, the fucking belly button laser. Like, he's kind of annoying, and and he's like he's like kind of the one that's like, oh, that's that weird kid in the background. And then he had his moment in the summer camp where he shot the laser and saved fucking Bird.
Tokiyami.
Thank you. T name. So you know what I mean, right? Yeah, I just screamed Bird. But so like there's gonna be a similar moment with Mineta. I guarantee you. He's gonna save someone's life. He's gonna do something, and it's gonna be a redeeming factor.
It's the product of our current generation, right? Because what people don't understand is there are a lot of perverted characters back then who had their redeeming moment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like Jiraiya, for example. Jiraiya is a big example. Jiraiya is one of the biggest perverts in fiction. But I guarantee you, lots of grown men cried when that motherfucker died.
Jiraiya.
So, and I think I'd have a beer with Jiraiya. Jiraiya seems like a really outgoing guy besides his pervertness.
Well, yeah, see, Jiraiya had more character than just perverted. The problem is how he's written Mineta. Like, Mineta very rarely shows other sides to him. Only recently has he been doing that. So
I think that they're just picking one thing negative about one character and just sticking with it because we're in this day and age to where SJW stuff happens. But I mean, I think that you could say the same argument about all these villains that these fangirls love so much.
Bruh. Something about And by the way, before I say this, I will say hashtag not all. Hashtag not all women, because I hate any blanket statement of like everyone in this group does this, but an uncomfortable amount of women are into like the bad boy. That like, oh God, like why are you attracted to the Joker? He would fucking kill you and then fuck your dead body.
Yeah, that's why I love Sasuke so much.
Oh, yeah. Bro. Oh, God. Sasuke would also probably kill you, and he wouldn't even give you the fucking pleasure of fucking your dead body. He would just kill you.
Karen was a prime example. I'm pretty sure that Karen moment in the manga was like an F you to all the fangirls.
Remember I showed you that? Yeah, Karin literally obsessed. Like, this motherfucker kills her. Like literally, like, uses her as a human shield and then stabs through her to kill a fucker and says, yeah, I never liked you. You were useless to me. Congratulations being a fucking pawn, you idiot bitch. And then, like, 100 chapters later, she's like, oh, I can't stay mad at you, Sasuke. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? It's like, it's not good, man. So, yeah, advice to all you whammon out there. Stop it with the bad boy thing, man. Like, what's that song, I Knew You Were Trouble When You Walked In? Who sings that? You won't know that. Who cares? If you fucking know they're trouble when they walk in, get away from that fuckhole. And then stop blaming all men on your idiot decision. Stop saying all men suck because you suck at picking men. Idiot. That's what this video is now. Fuck you. It's all like, you know how many girls I've met that like literally chose to go lesbian because they chose a bad man? They're like, oh, all men suck, so I'm gonna choose to change my sexuality now. Not only is that an insult towards actual gay people, but that's an insult towards all men. It's just fuck people like that. You got me on a rant.
Well, let's end this before we reach SJW.
Yeah. Thurman, you gotta say some insulting shit now, so you get shoulder the burden.
I already said some insulting shit.
What was it?
I don't know.
Say another thing. Okay, trigger an SJW right now.
Okay, let me see.
But it's gotta be something you really believe. Like, what's something you wanted to get off your chest for a while?
Oh, well, I kind of hate how these SJWs believe that, I guess we can go back to the Mineta situation, how, sorry, but, hating Mineta just because he's a pervert does not make him a bad character. Yes, if he was in real life, he'd need to be, but I mean, he's not a bad character. Pervert characters are supposed to be comedy. There are girl perverts out there too, so are you gonna fucking hate all girl perverts because of the characters that they've created? Sorry, that's not how it works. Pervert characters are created, and most of the time, they get their ass kicked. So, I mean...
Thurman's having this, like, really impassioned speech about pervert characters as, like, an American flag is rising up behind him, and, like, it's waving, and... Pervert characters!
Bro, I'm just saying, some of the pervert characters in fiction are some of the greatest well-written characters of all time. I'm just saying. Like, bro... like,
yeah, like which one?
It's like I wouldn't say he's one of the best written, but I say he's a pretty good written MC. Meliodas from My Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah, all I know about him is that GIF where he's just groping boobies, and I'm like, nice.
Then I would say, honestly, I feel like Dry was a pretty well written character.
Remember when Natsu fell out of a tower on top of Lucy, and then he was just sitting on Lucy, and then he like looked left, looked right, and then just chose to grope both of her tits and was like, worth it.
That's fairy tale. That's another.
Well, it was actually a very interesting moment because he literally he thought it out pretty well. He was like, listen, like there was literally a conversation where he's like, listen, I knew you were gonna hit me, but it was worth it because like I had to think about it. Am I ever gonna get this opportunity again? Probably not. So I did it.
Oh boy, let's end this before the channel just gets completely destroyed.
See, now that your fucking connection isn't hot ass, I couldn't think of a fucking good enough adjective. Hot garbage. I'm talking.
all of our we don't need our channel getting destroyed by the SJWs. All the hard work All the 200 and
They
something.
can't touch us, Thurman. We're invincible. You gotta channel your inner iDubbbz. If you don't give a fuck, they can't hurt you.
Oh, I don't give a fuck at all. I'm just trying.
Alright, well, and now his connection's dying, so in with that.
Peace.